Stroke risk drops 73% when diabetics do this one thing. Imagine your blood vessels as a network of pristine crystal tubes, carrying life through your body like rivers of liquid gold. Now picture what happens when you pour thick, sticky honey into those delicate channels. Day after day, year after year. What you're witnessing is one of medicine's most devastating silent partnerships: diabetes and stroke. And if you think this doesn't concern you, think again. Every 40 seconds, someone in America suffers a stroke. And here's the shocking truth that keeps me awake at night: if you have diabetes, your brain is 4 times more likely to be the next victim. I'm Dr. Chen. And in my 25 years of cardiovascular medicine, I've watched this deadly dance between blood sugar and brain health claim more lives than wars. But here's what gives me hope, and what should give you hope: this partnership can be broken. The question is, are you willing to listen to what your body is trying to tell you before it's too late? Let me paint you a picture that might save your life. Imagine your bloodstream as a bustling highway system. In a healthy person, glucose molecules flow like well-behaved traffic, smoothly delivering energy where it's needed. But when diabetes enters the scene, it's like suddenly flooding that highway with massive, oversized trucks that scrape against every tunnel, damage every bridge, and leave destruction in their wake. This isn't just a simple transportation problem. It's biological warfare happening inside your body. When your blood sugar rises above that magical number of 126 milligrams per deciliter, something sinister begins. Those excess glucose molecules start what scientists call glycation. Essentially, your blood sugar begins to caramelize. Just like when you heat sugar in a pan. Except this caramelization is happening to the delicate lining of your blood vessels, particularly the tiny, precious vessels that feed your brain. Think of it like this: if your blood vessels were garden hoses, diabetes would be like running liquid cement through them instead of water. Day by day, layer by layer, that cement builds up, making the hoses stiffer, narrower, more prone to bursting or completely blocking. And when that happens in your brain, that's when stroke strikes. But here's where the story gets truly frightening, and where most people make their biggest mistake. There's a character in this drama that most people never see coming. A silent saboteur that makes everything worse. It's called inflammation. And it's diabetes' most dangerous accomplice. Picture this: every time your blood sugar spikes, after that morning donut, that afternoon soda, that late-night ice cream, it's like setting off tiny explosions along your blood vessel walls. Your immune system, trying to protect you, rushes to put out these fires. But when the fires never stop, your immune system becomes like an overzealous security guard, attacking everything in sight, including the very vessels it's supposed to protect. This creates what I call the perfect storm syndrome. You have the sticky, damaging glucose molecules. You have the inflammatory response going haywire. And you have blood vessels that are becoming increasingly fragile and blocked. It's like having a water balloon fight with grenades. Eventually, something's going to give way catastrophically. Now, let me share something that changed how I practice medicine forever. I once treated a patient, let's call her Maria, who had been living with diabetes for 8 years. Her blood sugar numbers looked acceptable on paper, hovering around that seemingly safe zone of 140 to 160. She felt fine, had energy, was living her life. But when we did advanced imaging of her carotid arteries, those crucial vessels that feed blood to the brain, I was horrified to discover they were 70% blocked. 70%. This woman was walking around with what I call a ticking time bomb in her neck. And she had no idea. No symptoms. No warning signs. No pain. Just diabetes quietly. Methodically. Preparing to steal everything from her in an instant. This is why I call diabetes the Trojan horse of stroke risk. It rolls into your life looking manageable. Even harmless. Your daily blood sugar readings might seem reasonable. You might feel energetic. Productive. Normal. But inside those vessels, a siege is underway that's far more dangerous than most people realize. Here's the mathematical reality that should terrify and motivate you if you have type 1 diabetes. Your stroke risk is 3 times higher than someone without diabetes. If you have type 2 diabetes, that risk jumps to 4 times higher. But if your diabetes is poorly controlled, if your HbA1c is above 9%, you're looking at 6 times the stroke risk. 6 times. Let that sink in. But numbers alone don't tell the full story. What really keeps me up at night is something called the compound effect. See. Diabetes rarely travels alone. It's like the leader of a criminal gang, bringing along its dangerous friends: high blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol, obesity, and chronic inflammation. When these gang members work together, they don't just add to your stroke risk, they multiply it. Imagine your cardiovascular system as a dam holding back a massive lake. Diabetes puts cracks in that dam. High blood pressure increases the water pressure. Abnormal cholesterol makes the dam materials weaker. Obesity adds more water to the lake. And inflammation. That's like having someone constantly hammering at those cracks, making them wider and deeper every day. Most people think they can ignore small cracks in a dam. I'll deal with it later, they say. It's not that bad yet. But dams don't give you warning when they're about to fail. One moment everything seems fine. And the next moment, catastrophic failure sweeps away everything in its path. This is exactly what happens with diabetic stroke. Your brain has been quietly struggling, compensating, finding workarounds for damaged blood vessels. But there comes a moment when that compensation fails. When the backup systems can't keep up anymore. When one more glucose spike or one more inflammatory surge becomes the final straw. And here's what makes this tragedy even more heartbreaking: the warning signs are often dismissed or misunderstood. That slight memory fog, I'm just getting older. That occasional dizziness, I stood up too fast. That brief moment when words wouldn't come out right, I was just tired. But your brain is actually crying out for help, begging you to pay attention before it's too late. The cruel irony is that many diabetics become so focused on managing their daily blood sugar numbers that they miss the bigger picture. They're like someone obsessing over individual raindrops while ignoring the flood rising around their house. Yes, daily glucose control matters tremendously. But what matters, even more, is understanding how that glucose is reshaping your entire cardiovascular landscape. Think of your blood vessels as a river system feeding your brain. When diabetes enters the picture, it's like a mining operation upstream, constantly dumping toxic waste into the water. At first, the river system can handle the contamination. It dilutes the toxins, filters what it can, works overtime to keep clean water flowing to the brain. But eventually, even the most robust river system becomes overwhelmed. The toxins accumulate. The riverbanks erode. The flow becomes sluggish. Then turbulent. Then completely blocked. And when that happens to the rivers feeding your brain, stroke is inevitable. The only question is when. Not if. But here's where hope enters our story. And why I'm sharing this with you today. Unlike so many medical conditions that leave us feeling helpless, the diabetes-stroke connection can be broken. The criminal gang can be disbanded. The dam can be reinforced. The river system can be cleaned and restored. The key lies in understanding that diabetes isn't just about blood sugar, it's about transformation. Every food choice, Every exercise decision. Every stress management technique. Every hour of sleep is either feeding the destructive process or starving it. You have more power than you realize. But only if you understand the full scope of what you're fighting. So let me show you how to become the architect of your own protection. How to rebuild those damaged vessels and restore the crystal clear pathways to your brain. Because here's what the medical establishment often fails to tell you: your body has an extraordinary capacity for healing. For regeneration. For fighting back against even years of diabetic damage. But it needs the right blueprint. The right materials. And most importantly, the right daily construction habits. Think of your HbA1c, that crucial 3-month average of your blood sugar, as the master thermostat controlling your body's repair versus destruction balance. When that number sits above 7%, you're essentially telling your body to prioritize damage over healing every single day. But when you bring it below 7, ideally closer to 6.5, something magical happens. It's like switching your body's internal factory from producing toxins to manufacturing repair crews. Here's a visualization that changed everything for one of my patients. Imagine your bloodstream as a flowing river. And every glucose molecule as either a healing nutrient or a destructive toxin. Depending on the concentration. When your blood sugar stays between 80 and 130 milligrams per deciliter before meals, those glucose molecules become like skilled construction workers, efficiently delivering energy where it's needed without causing chaos. But when those numbers climb above 180 after meals, which happens to millions of Americans every single day, those same glucose molecules transform into demolition crews, tearing down more than they build. The difference between healing and harm often comes down to just 50 points on that glucose meter. 50 points between thriving and barely surviving. Now, let me share the most powerful weapon in your anti-stroke arsenal. Something so simple yet so profound, that it continues to amaze me after all these years. It's called the Mediterranean miracle. And research shows it can reduce your stroke risk by 30%. Even if you already have diabetes. Picture this instead of your typical American breakfast of processed cereals and sugary coffee. Imagine starting your day with what I call the fisherman's formula. Wild-caught salmon rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Avocado loaded with monounsaturated fats. A handful of walnuts. And fresh berries, bursting with antioxidants. This isn't just a meal. It's medicine disguised as food. Here's what happens in your bloodstream when you make this switch. Those omega-3 fatty acids act like microscopic repair teams, patching up the damaged walls of your blood vessels. The monounsaturated fats work like lubricants, keeping your blood flowing smoothly through even partially narrowed arteries. The antioxidants function as your body's internal cleanup crew, neutralizing the inflammatory molecules that diabetes creates. But the real magic happens with something called the low glycemic index principle. Think of it like this: processed foods hit your bloodstream like a tsunami, a massive, destructive wave that overwhelms your body's ability to cope. But whole foods, fiberrich vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats enter your system like a gentle, steady stream, providing sustained energy without triggering that inflammatory cascade we talked about earlier. I want you to imagine your pancreas as a hard-working factory that's been running overtime for years, desperately trying to produce enough insulin to handle the constant glucose emergencies. When you switch to low glycemic foods, it's like finally giving that exhausted factory a chance to catch its breath, to repair its machinery, to work efficiently instead of desperately. The transformation I've witnessed in patients who embrace this approach is nothing short of miraculous. Blood pressure dropping naturally, inflammation markers plummeting, blood vessel function improving dramatically, and most importantly, stroke risk declining month by month, year by year. But nutrition is only part of the equation. Let me tell you about what I call the 15-minute miracle, perhaps the most underestimated stroke prevention tool in existence. After every meal. No matter how busy you are. No matter where you are. Take a 15-minute walk. Just 15 minutes. Here's the science that will blow your mind: that simple post-meal walk can reduce your blood sugar spike by 30%. 30%. It's like having a natural diabetes medication built right into your daily routine. Your muscles become glucose-hungry sponges, eagerly absorbing excess sugar from your bloodstream and converting it to energy instead of allowing it to damage your vessels. But the benefits go far beyond blood sugar control. That gentle movement stimulates the production of something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, essentially miracle-grow for your brain cells. It enhances the flexibility of your blood vessels, improves their ability to dilate and contract properly. And most crucially, it triggers the growth of new tiny blood vessels that can serve as natural bypasses around damaged areas. Think of exercise as your body's internal construction company, constantly building new infrastructure to keep blood flowing to your brain. Every step you take is like laying new pipeline, creating redundant systems that protect you even if diabetes has damaged some of your original pathways. Now, let me address the elephant in the room: stress. In my 25 years of practice, I've seen stress act like gasoline on the fire of diabetic complications. Chronic worry, anxiety, and tension trigger the release of cortisol and adrenaline. Hormones that don't just raise your blood sugar, they make your blood more likely to clot, your vessels more likely to spasm, and your inflammation more severe. But here's where ancient wisdom meets modern science. Something as simple as deep breathing, what I call the 4-7-8 reset, can literally rewire your stress response. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Do this just 4 times, and you've activated your parasympathetic nervous system, the body's built-in repair and restoration mode. When you practice this technique regularly, especially during those inevitable daily stressors, you're not just calming your mind, you're protecting your brain. You're telling your blood vessels to relax, your inflammation to subside, your blood sugar to stabilize. It's like having a remote control for your body's stress response system. Sleep, too, plays a crucial role in this protection strategy. Think of sleep as your body's overnight repair shop. During those deep sleep cycles, your brain literally washes itself clean of inflammatory toxins. Your blood vessels restore their flexibility, and your insulin sensitivity resets for the next day. When you shortchange your sleep, getting less than 7 hours consistently, you're essentially forcing your repair shop to close early, leaving damage unrepaired and vulnerability unchecked. But perhaps the most important message I can leave you with today is this: you are not a passive victim of diabetes and stroke risk. You are an active participant in your own health destiny. Every meal is a choice between inflammation and healing. Every moment of movement is a vote for better circulation. Every deep breath is a step away from stress-induced damage. Every good night's sleep is an investment in tomorrow's brain health. The partnership between diabetes and stroke may be 4 times more dangerous than normal, but the partnership between you and your daily health choices is infinitely more powerful. Your body wants to heal. Your vessels want to repair themselves. Your brain wants to stay sharp and protected. All it needs is your commitment to providing the right conditions for that healing to happen. Remember Maria, the patient I mentioned earlier with the 70% blocked arteries. 6 months after implementing these strategies, controlling her blood sugar more tightly, embracing the Mediterranean approach to eating, taking those crucial post-meal walks, managing her stress, and prioritizing her sleep, her follow-up imaging showed something that still gives me chills. New blood vessel growth, reduced inflammation, Improved blood flow to her brain. She didn't just prevent a stroke. She reversed years of diabetic damage and gave herself a fighting chance at a vibrant, healthy future. And if she can do it, so can you. The question isn't whether your body can heal from diabetic damage. It's whether you're ready to give it the tools and time it needs to perform that miracle. Your brain is counting on you. Your future self is counting on you. And I'm here, cheering you on every step of the way. Because I've seen too many miracles to believe that yours isn't possible too.